Hi, this is Leona Daniels of Pen to Paper Journaling, and I'm here today to tell you about our new journal that we just got literally from the printers. And the journal is called Journaling Through the Topic of Grief and Loss. So some of you might be thinking, oh, I don't need that journal because nobody has passed away in my life. And if that's true, well, then you're really fortunate. But sometimes grief and loss is more than just about death. We go through grief and loss whenever a relationship ends. So if you just, broke up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you're going through grief and loss. If you've gotten sick and if you've had some major health changes, you're going through grief and loss. A friend of mine recently had surgery. She has cancer and a part of her body was removed. And yeah, right now she's going through grief and loss. Have you ever lost a job? If you've lost a job, then you're going through grief and loss. A lot of times people are talking about the economy and people talk about money, and sometimes people have gone through bankruptcy. When you go through bankruptcy, you're going through grief and loss. You've lost money, you've lost income, you've lost a lifestyle that you may have gotten really used to. So yes, you're going through grief and loss. If you've ever gone through the terrible experience of having a miscarriage, yeah, you would go through grief and loss. If you've ever lost a child through foster care, or if you've ever been adopted, or if you've ever given a child up for adoption, you're most definitely also going through grief and loss. If you've lost a pet, you're going through grief and loss. So you don't only go through grief and loss when somebody dies. You go through grief and loss whenever there's been a big change in your life. If you ever lost access to a dream, you would go through grief and loss. Back in my younger days, I wanted to move to the mountains, skidoo in the winter, sea-doo in the summer. That dream never happened, and I don't really see that dream happening to me. And after that happened, yeah, I went through a period of grief and loss that I really had to process. If you ever lost a friend, broken up with a friend, yeah, you would go through grief and loss. And if you've ever been traumatized to the point that you don't feel safe anymore, yeah, you would go through grief and loss. So I'm just saying that this journal is just not for the people who have lost a loved one through death. This journal is for people who have gone through big change in their life. And so I just wanted to take this time to just talk to you about how grief and loss happens in many occasions and not just in death. So if you're interested in working through some of the feelings you might have around grief and loss, some of the shock, if you're going through grief and loss and you're wondering, and what I'm going through, is it normal? Well, then this is the Paper Friend workbook for you. And so to get your copy of our journal, you can email me, Leona Daniels, at p2pjournaling@gmail.com. Once again, p2pjournaling@gmail.com. Thank you very much.